Good evening. It's over 3.5 years late, but we are now only a week away from Londoners travelling on Crossrail. Work on the line has now been completed and today it had its official opening. A raft of politicians, including the Mayor of London and the Prime Minister, were there to mark the occasion. But the surprise guest at Paddington was Her Majesty the Queen, who tapped her Oyster card as she visited the Elizabeth line, named, of course, in her honour. Our political correspondent, Simon Harris, is at Paddington for us now. Simon.
Buckingham Palace no longer gives advance notice of the Queen's rare public appearance. In part, that's to avoid disappointment if she's not up to it on the day. After she was unable to open Parliament formally last week, the chances of her being able to open the Elizabeth line ahead of her potentially tiring and busy Jubilee weekend seemed remote. But then, suddenly, at the last minute this morning, word reached Paddington that the Queen was on her way.
Crossrail has been full of surprises over the years, but this was one of the biggest. Against expectations, the Queen arrived in Paddington to officially open the Elizabeth line, named in her honour. The Prime Minister and the Mayor headed the list of VIP guests, but the Queen also met TfL staff, including Kofi, who introduced her to the mysteries of the Oyster card.
£5 and £10.
Where might I go?
So I showed her how to use it and I showed her how much money is already on the cards. So yeah, she seemed very thrilled to see how people use travel across London.
The Queen's increasing frailty in recent months has seen her pull out of official engagements. Those she does tend to be behind the walls of Windsor Castle.
Buckingham Palace only confirmed the Queen's involvement in the opening ceremony with less than 2 hours to go. Up until that point, VIP guests and TfL staff had been told to expect her youngest son, the Earl of Wessex.
The plaque commemorating Prince Edward's role was hurriedly replaced, so that when the moment came, the curtains were pulled back to reveal Elizabeth line officially opened by Her Majesty the Queen during her Platinum Jubilee.
They promised us she'd come if she could. She wanted to come herself, and I'm really pleased that she came today, because it shows her commitment to London, to this line, and it's given us a real lift in advance of next week.
It's the first time I've ever met the Queen. It was an absolute honour to meet her and to show her what this project has been all about. These beautiful stations, the customer service staff that we wanted her to meet as well, seeing their faces when they knew it was the Queen, but also actually meeting the Queen, talking with her. It was just fantastic. It's been a magical day.
The Queen last visited Crossrail in 2016 to officially christen it the Elizabeth line. Boris Johnson was still London Mayor. She was lined up to open the railway in December 2018, but that didn't happen. Crossrail ended up massively over budget and 3.5 years late. But finally, next Tuesday, Londoners can start using it.
I really think this will bring people back into mass transit in the city. It will bring people back into their places of work. I think it will be a transformative investment, not just for London, but for the whole country. As we've already said, it's 72,000 jobs it's created already. It will drive investment throughout the UK.
The Queen's visit wasn't a long one. She spent about 10 minutes at the station before leaving in the royal limousine.
She looked very well. Yeah, she'd walk in, as you see now, she's got a head of a stick, but she seems quite jovial, quite mobile.
She's such an icon and such a wonderful person that, yeah, to see her in the flesh is good.
I feel happy that she came out and she's okay. She looks fit, she looks nice.
It was left to the Earl of Wessex to give the royal seal of approval to the new trains. Prince Edward had a quick trip from Paddington to Tottenham Court Road and then back again.
Londoners get the chance to try Crossrail for themselves from 6:30 in the morning a week today. To begin with, trains will run Monday to Saturday, so no Sunday services. And it's also emerged that there'll be some Saturdays where there'll be no trains. Engineers say that's needed because they want to do essential upgrades to software and engineering to allow them to bring forward the date when the central section of Crossrail between Paddington and Abbey Wood can be connected to the overground branches to Shenfield and Reading. And Elizabeth Line executives say they hope that will happen by the end of September, early October.
But first, developing news now, and in the last few hours, a bus has crashed into a wall in Romford. A number of people have been injured. Our correspondent Simon Harris has been following this for us and joins me now. Simon, what more do we know?
Well, Duncan, the emergency services say they began to get reports of an accident involving a bus in Gidea Park at around about 5 to 2 this afternoon. All three emergency services, police, fire and ambulance, were scrambled. They arrived in Main Road to find a double-decker had crashed through a garden wall. It seems around 15 people needed treatment from paramedics and ambulance staff. And now most of those, it seems, were walking wounded or in shock and just needed to be checked over before being allowed home. But 5 people had to be taken to hospital. A 6th person made their own way there. We don't know to what extent they were hurt, but the police say their injuries aren't life-threatening. The bus was a number 174, which runs from Dagenham Park in Havering to Dagenham. It's operated by Stagecoach on behalf of Transport for London, and a TfL spokesperson said its thoughts were with everyone involved. It must have been deeply distressing. There's obviously going to be an investigation. That means there's a lot of activity at the scene, and that also means that the main road in Gidea Park, the A118, which runs from Romford to Gallows Corner, is likely to be closed for a while.
OK, Simon, thank you.
The long-awaited Crossrail finally opens this week, promising to cut journey times across the capital and bring new investment. Woolwich wasn't initially supposed to be on the line, but it was added after the council agreed to part-fund it, bringing with it new developments and new money. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has been down to Woolwich to figure out whether current residents are feeling those effects or whether it's an area divided.
On the south bank of the Thames, Royal Arsenal Riverside is a huge housing development with a unique selling point. It boasts its own Elizabeth Line station, and people living here are about to enjoy the long-promised fruits of Crossrail.
It's going to change my commute from 50 minutes to 13, which is going to be a game changer. Means I get an extra half an hour with this little man.
We wanted to move here because of the accessibility, because of the Elizabeth Line. My work is going to be in the city, so it was quite important for me to be able to get to work quite easily.
What I'm happy about is that it's going to Heathrow. You don't need to get a cab, taxi that will cost you God knows how much. So yeah, it's going to make a big difference for a lot of people in Woolwich actually, lots, not just me, lots of people.
But Woolwich is a tale of two towns. On the other side of the tracks is the town centre, a long-neglected corner of southeast London. It seems a world away from the shiny towers and well-ordered streets of the Arsenal.
The big challenge is to get people to cross that busy road that separates the Arsenal and the rest of Woolwich, to come into the town centre and spend their money in local businesses, local shops, local services.
Woolwich is in Greenwich, one of the most deprived boroughs in Britain. The local council has paid £15 million for the privilege of having an Elizabeth Line station and hopes it will be a catalyst.
We're working with investors to revitalise our town centre and bring back a high street fit for the 21st century. And we know that the Crossrail station here in Woolwich is really going to accelerate that growth and provide a boost to what is a very difficult market at the moment.
Transport for London, which runs the Elizabeth Line, believes the railway will be delivering benefits to communities along its route for many years to come.
This railway has been built for 100 to 150 years, and they will be talking about what we created, and we should be immensely proud of that, and I think London will be immensely proud of this fantastic railway.
It's been a long wait. Crossrail has been delayed by 3.5 years. 5 days from now, the Elizabeth Line finally opens.
And Simon will have more about Crossrail in our political programme, The Late Debate, tonight. And he's over at our Westminster studio. Simon, what else have you got for us?
Yes, Charlene, as well as Crossrail, we hear from Surrey MP Jeremy Hunt about why he thinks the NHS is a rogue system with a blame culture which gets in the way of change. Mr Hunt was Britain's longest-serving health secretary and a former Conservative leadership candidate, and he still has leadership ambitions. If and when that vacancy does come up, are you still interested?
Well, I've never hidden the fact that, I one day might want to return to frontline politics, but I don't think now is the moment for a change in our Prime Minister.
We'll also discuss the fallout from the local elections with 3 London MPs and the cost of living crisis and Partygate. That's The Late Debate here on ITV after news at 10.
Brilliant. Thanks, Simon.